What are the most common challenges that you face when installing heat pumps as a replacement for a traditional HVAC system?
The answer to that is really unique to the different type of system that it's replacing, right? So if you have a heat pump that's replacing a forced air furnace, for example, that's not a real big stretch. If you start to look at some of the hydronic systems that are in place with baseboards or steam or things like that as distribution systems, the technology for heat pumps hasn't really evolved into that realm yet. Some folks, what we're seeing, are putting these systems as an ancillary system to an existing system. So if it's just sort of moderately cold, we'll turn on the heat pump mini split or the heat pump heating system that will supplement more conventional traditional systems. So every use case is very different from the next one. And what systems have been replaced or modified, what changes have been made to the distribution system for the heat. There is always a lot of evaluation that you have to do before you can sort of just drop in a replacement. And to the point that you made a moment ago, businesses exist because they're able to develop a successful, repeatable process. Apple is able to manufacture iPhones at scale. They know exactly what components go into that phone. They know exactly how to assemble it. They know exactly how to package it, and then they know how to ship it. That is the trouble that you have with expediting a new technology into the marketplace, is that many HVAC contractors have a successful, repeatable process for the way that they tackle replacement of different heating and cooling systems. It's not that difficult to cut the old box out, put a new box in, and then have that box be the new thing going forward. But when you try to replace the type of system and the distribution of the system, that's where you introduce complexity and you lessen the likelihood of a successful, repeatable process. Heat pumps were not a thing before the Inflation Reduction Act. They really had not secured a foothold in the marketplace. I'm not saying that the technology wasn't proven and that market adoption hadn't necessarily happened, but certainly in this area, heat pumps were just not a topic of conversation and not something that the mainstream consumer was considering as a replacement option. Even today, before the Inflation Reduction Act, administration simply said, this is going to be the future. And they put their thumb on that side of the scale and they said, we're going to level the playing field in favor of heat pumps. And that's the forward direction that we want to take. That's the policy that we want to see happen. And this is the budget that we're going to put behind it to make it happen.
It's like something you can't complain about.
There is no complaint. I think the country needed it. I think the environment needed it. I think that people needed it. Even just today, I took a phone call from somebody who experienced health problems and respiratory problems, and they wanted to get off natural gas. They were buying a house. They deployed an energy auditor to their home to evaluate what's it going to take to electrify this. So we're starting to see that transition happen. People are calling us not necessarily because they want to be more efficient or more comfortable, but now they're calling because they actually want to electrify.